A crack into it. Okay, timekeepers right, judges, competitors, go. This is going to be a little bit of a rip, shit and bust sort of a thing, as the term says. They like to get into the, used to be lambs, but they're shearing to-dos here. A little bit smaller than some of the sheep we've seen come through this competition, but they will be lively little hill country sheep, and they are well rounded enough for the job here at Shearing at the Golden Shears for the 60th occasion. So Marshall Guy here on the front stand from Kyo. Darren Alexander from Hastings on stand number 2. Another ex-Taranaki Shears. Tegwin Bradley from Woodville on the third stand. Down on number 4, DJ Crawford from Gisborne. Far end on 5. We have the young Gordon down there from Masterton, young David Gordon, and Dean Hurley from Whangamomara in the Naki on the 6th stand. Oh, let's see what we got to go. They're racking it out pretty smartly, this one now. Just over a minute as they step into the pen. The reason why I know that, because the 3 number was up on the board. That tells me that it took at least 3 points in time to shear that first sheep. In they go. Crawford now from Gisborne, right with Alexander. Hurley, he's got number 2 on the board. Who's in front at the moment? It looks like stand 5. David Gordon, the local fella, had a good shear early in the game. Marshall Guy trying to chance his arm as well, Norm, as Tegwin Bradley hits the top knot.
Thanks, Thomas. So back up on the board, Marshall Guy down over the last front shoulder. Right there with David Gordon. Here's these young guys shearing out of their skin, gaining more and more experience as they go on in these sort of finals. This is what they're about, John, isn't it? They're just encouragement finals. So give them a wee bit of finals type experience up there. A few more sheep under their belt in front of a big crowd, in front of the judges and against each other, because to be fair, a lot of these guys are going to be the open finalists of the future. So great to get them with a wee bit of experience under their belt.
Well, you're dead right and correct. They would have been in 1 or 2 finals throughout their career in the shearing, but of course, when you step up on the open grade, it's really tough. But you're shearing at this pace. You've got to shear at this pace all the time to get through to the last 6 in any event around the country or around the world, because the shearers are getting faster and faster. To be in the open grade, once upon a time, you're sure about 360 odd sheep, and then you're up in the open. Now the open class starts at 406, so they've jumped at a big number, and they're quite capable of doing it, because the sheep are better shearing, the gear's better, there's more health and fitness goes into the training of these shearers, and a better quality, and the style that they're achieving is an easy flow, easy on the sheep, easy on the shearer stuff. Into the pen there, Marshall Guy up on the front. We've got 3 minutes and 30 gone now, and he's got number 4 on the board, so it's about 1:10. So there's still a little bit of work. They're still having to work hard, these guys, these sheep. As I say, they're just a tad smaller than some of them that have come across the board here in the last few days, but they are full of vigour. And they will not hang around the gate, these sheep. They will be up on the highest knob looking down at you from daylight till dark. And out the last leg comes Alexander. Fresh one on the board from Tegan Bradley. Dean Hurley battling away in front of DJ Crawford. And Tegwin Bradley takes the belly of Norm. He's keeping it pretty easy at the moment.
They're just cruising along. A couple of sheep left, so they're going to start hitting their straps very shortly. Marshall Guy round onto the last front shoulder on sheep number 4. DJ Crawford just change of steel and hopping in for his 4th sheep. So Marshall Guy from Kyo on stand number 1, just out ahead of David Gordon now. David just slipped back off the pace a wee bit, a couple of kicky sheep, so that's all it takes. Marshall Guy changes steel on stand number 1. Well practiced move as well, and he steps out with his 5th sheep. Marshall Guy on stand 1, leading the field into sheep number 5. The rest of the field just trailing in his wake, but shearing nicely is Darren Alexander from Hastings on stand 2. Winds his way up the back of the sheep. Tegwin Bradley down the last side on 4. In and out for David Gordon this time. So he's belly in the undermine behind Marshall Guy as far as speed goes. Dean Hurley turns for home on sheep number 4. DJ Crawford slides up the backbone, turns around onto the last cheek, wipes it off, and down onto the shoulder. Darren Alexander on stand number 2. Good young shearer of the sky, as all these guys are. Tegwin Bradley steps in for 5. And now Darren, away it goes, and he's in for 5 as well. But Marshall Guy wipes the cheek off the last side, down over the front shoulder. Marshall Guy, terrific young sportsman. These guys supremely fit. They're on top of their game, or not quite on top of their game, but they're getting there as far as skill levels and expertise goes. Just a bit more experience, and that's what these finals are all about, John.
Working away is Hurley. All the shearers now look to have changed their steel. As I say, they're a little bit drier cutting the sheep due to the drought conditions around the country. No, very little grass of the green type left to pick from. So a little bit harsher cutting on the gear, maybe a little bit of dust in the head. Not much on the back of the body, and that's a credit to the farmers that have been looking after these sheep as they go round the back of the head. Down on stand number 6, DJ Crawford starting to put in a couple of quick shots now. Into the long blow he goes. Tegwin Bradley's had some unruly sheep as he comes out the last leg. Little bit of dust in that sock. Here on the front stand though, it's Marshall Guy with his 6th and final one on the board. Looking to do it easy. He's out in front by quite a stretch. He's got away from David Gordon down there, the Masterton lad on stand number 5. Alexander going in now for sheep number 6. Sheep 5 still on the board for Crawford. Sheep 5 for Dean Hurley. But Marshall Guy's going to put the whip on and he's coming down the last side. Stoking it off. David Gordon's chasing hard down the far end. But up the front is Marshall Guy. 6 and 54 as he hits the button there and stops his time clock. A beautiful shear from David Gordon as well, who had a little bit of a kicker on about sheep number 2, Norman.
He did. That's sort of back off the pace a wee bit, but that's a challenge these guys have got to face up there on the competition board. One difficult sheep can just set the cat amongst the pigeons. You just got to be able to control yourself and the sheep and get back into it. Last side for Tegwin Bradley, the young fella from Woodville. Down he pulls right out to the toe. Another couple of shots for this lean, mean shearing machine. Over the tail he goes and reaches for the time clock button. Well done, Tegwin. Darren Alexander is probably going to be next, failing as long as the sheep didn't have any say in the proceedings. DJ Crawford turning for home, sweeping up the long blows. Dean Hurley from the Naki. Last cheek. Very well-known shearing family, the Hurleys in Taranaki. Right out to the back leg for Darren. Another couple of shots. Ooh, just got to pull the head through. Cost him a second or two. DJ Crawford comes back at him. So does Dean Hurley.
Oh, could be triplets.
Yeah.
Could be triplets. Hurley, he's going to get there. Oh, no, it's Crawford. And then followed by Alexander and Hurley, all within a whisker.
Give them a big hand, ladies and gentlemen. Our TUI-sponsored invitation shearers. They're just going to stay up on the board. And it'll be a instant prize giving. So just waiting while we get set up and get the points down to us. We have the results from the senior, the Powerco sponsored senior shearing event, the top 6. We just saw the top 18 shear, and the top 6 out of those 18 in qualifying order that will compete in the big final later on are Ross Thompson, top qualifier, Rooker Braddock, Brandon Maguire-Ratama, Paul Swan, Ruben Lewis, and number 6 in there from Wales, Gethin Lewis. So Ross Thompson, Rooker Braddock, Brandon Maguire-Ratama, Paul Swan, Ruben Alabaster, and Gethin Lewis, the top 6 in that senior, and they'll be battling it out for that red ribbon tonight, John. Something to look forward to.
Yeah, we're just talking about how the sheep kick and what have you. But the shearers deal with that in the shed every day, of course. They are wild animals. They are not sedated in any way, so at any given point in time, they can just explode. Sheep tend to have a brain explosion now and again, and if they know what's good for them, they'd actually shit jolly still. But as I say, we cannot control the will of the sheep, and all we're going to do is try and manage it the best we can as while we're up there on the board.
That's right, John. So, yeah, that's the great thing about our sport, isn't it? We can practice, the guys can practice all week, for the competition on the weekend. So they learn, about using the top 2 inches. They learn about strength and physical stamina and everything else, mental stamina that's required in this competition shearing game. And that's where they learn it, is in the sheds when they're racing each other day in and day out.
Is that why you and I are just missing that little fella on the top of the head? That's why we're a bit shorter.
Yeah, well, quite possibly. That's why we're sitting up in this table talking about it, and those guys are up there doing it.
Yeah, well, that's something we do better.
That's right. So Tuma Mullins down there with David Gordon by the look of it.
Okay, guys, I'm here with David Gordon. David, this is your first year in the Open, and you're making these open. You've made a couple of Open finals. Not many people did that in your first season. Tell me the focus it takes to get there.
Oh, just the really luck, really, I suppose. And yeah, got my dad doing my gear, which helps a lot. And yeah, all the family are right behind me, so it's all good. Yeah.
So you practice every day. I know you work for Wairarapa. He must have a bit of influence over how you are, getting on.
Yeah, they're awesome. Kushra and Pye with Abraham Shearing, they're awesome bosses. They look after me great and let me do all the shows and understand when I'm going slow, get my job, but yeah, it's all good.
Have you had to change, anything in your life, your lifestyle, or is there anything that you've changed to actually get you up into this level at such a short time?
Not really, just a bit of fitness, but not too much. Don't try to go too serious. But yeah, not really. I've sort of lived in the sheds my whole life, so yeah, just sort of the same.
Oh, well, good luck to you, David. Give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen, David Gordon.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have the results for the TUI Encouragement Invitation Shearing, and presenting on behalf of TUI is Sam Saunders, the President of Golden Shears.
Hello. Yeah, welcome everybody. I'd just like to thank TUI for the sponsorship. Any show, it takes a lot of organisation and sponsorship to make the job run, and encouragement events are all very good for the industry, as we've seen in the last 2 or 3 days. So thank you, TUI, and congratulations on all the guys in the final.
Thank you, Sam. The winner of the TUI Encouragement Invitation Shearing event receives $300. The penalty points for first were 31.8. The penalty points for second were 31.9. First place, Marshall Guy. Congratulations, Marshall. You seemed a little bit surprised there.
Yeah, well, it was pure luck that I made it into this event in the first place. But I'd just like to thank everyone. I've been struggling with my gear here this show, but thanks to Pies for a couple of combs, local knowledge, and that helped out a lot. My wife for supporting me through the season, Mum and Dad for coming down, and good luck to everyone else. Cheers.
Well said, thank you. Second place and $200, David Gordon. Third place, Darren Alexander. Fourth, Tagwin Bradley. Fifth, DJ Crawford. And give it up for Dean Herlihy. Rightio, that's the instant prize giving done. We've got a pretty special event now. I'll hand you back down to your commentators to lead you through it.
Thank you very much, Kieran. These young guys coming through, the industry is in safe hands. Next up is the PGG National Circuit semi-final. So these shearers will be shearing 3 merinos and 3 longwalls from second shed. Can we please get heat number 1 to the board? Stand 1, Jack Fagan, Aaron Haynes, Hemi Braddock, Paidata Abraham, Angus Moore, Nathan Stratford.
Our judges up there too, please. So just while these guys are getting themselves sorted, John, I know you're